including if he's getting crushed the fuck out. Talked about that Rory McDonald fight. Any one of these fights, dude. When he got his lip cut the fuck open. I mean, come on. What the hell? Cerrone's a plus 135. Robbie's a minus 155. Slight favorites there. I think that Robbie Lawler's going to win the fight. Just basically because of what I said. He's also a little bigger, a little more powerful than is Cerrone. Cerrone's got a better technical skill level as far as his striking is concerned, but just not that powerful. He could knock out Robbie. I don't see it happening. It'd be pretty fucking strange. It would probably have to be some kind of a head kick situation or something like that. Robbie could fucking, I could see him knocking out Donald Cerrone. Obviously with punches, because that's like the only thing he does. But, yeah. I mean, I think that Robbie's probably going to win the fight. I think that they're both probably going to press forward. And I think that Robbie's going to connect a few times, and it'll probably either make Donald change his game plan, or it'll lead him into a trap that's probably going to get him knocked out. So if I had to pick, I would take Robbie Lawler. I might bet money at minus 155 on that. I don't hate it. I mean, I really don't think that Cerrone's going to beat him, but we'll see what happens. Robbie Lawler has been through a fuckload of wars. I mean, war after war. Like I just said, 3 straight fight of the year winners. 3 straight wars that he won. And then his most recent fight getting knocked out in the first round by Tyron Woodley. I'm still going to take Robbie Lawler, but I guess it could go either way saying that, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with my boy Robbie Lawler to take the W here. All right, we push forward into what is one of the 3 championship fights. The last 3 fights we're going to talk about, all 3 will have somebody lead with the fucking championship strap. And the first of these said bouts will result in, I guess now, I was going to say an inaugural champion, but it's not necessarily true. It's the women's featherweight division. We have already had an inaugural women's featherweight champion, Jermaine Durand. She got stripped from the belt by not being willing to fight Cyborg and all this yada yada bullshit that I don't even really want to talk about. I actually don't even think she won the fight anyway. I would have docked her at least 1 time, maybe 2 different times for those late blows. But enough about that shit. She's out the picture. We've got the women's featherweight championship here. Everybody's the heir to the throne here, I guess you'd say. Cyborg, Justine Cristiano, or whatever fuck her name is. The Beast of Earth, taking on Tanya Evinger, who is the bantamweight champion of Invicta, who is now coming over to UFC to fight for the featherweight championship belt here. A Megan Anderson fight probably made more sense, but this is what we get. Good for Tanya too. Honestly, she's gonna get more spotlight by doing this, and then she's gonna have an opportunity not only to fight in the UFC rather than Invicta, but get another belt under her record. She's obviously not scared of the homegirl either, and so this should make to be an interesting affair, to say the least. About the same size. They're not terribly different in size, I will say. Cyborg is let's just say, we'll talk a couple fights here. Knocked out Lisa Landsberg in the second round last September, kind of got in trouble for whatever and whatnot. Got sick, got hurt because she was trying to cut weight. I think that was like 140. A few of these were at 140. And before that, she knocked out Leslie Smith in the first round back in May of last year. 12 straight fights of hers have resulted in her knocking out her opponent. 12 straight knockouts for Cyborg. Her record is 17-1-1, 15 knockouts, 5'8", 68-inch reach, 32 years old, actually not that old. Younger than Tanya Evinger by 4 years, which is most people wouldn't really imagine. Obviously a ridiculous Muay Thai artist, trained by Rafael Cordero. Just a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but probably not going to need that. Fighting this bitch is a tough affair, I will say. On the other hand, we have Tanya Evinger. Her most recent fight was a victory over Yana Kunitskaya. That was a second-round submission of a rear naked choke. She won or defended her championship there. That was in March of this season, or this year. And then last year, this is, I guess, I don't know. But she technically lost a fight to the same girl, Kunitskaya, a first-round arm bar last November. It ended up being ruled a no contest. And so she retained her belt in that one as well. Or that one was a no contest, but she didn't lose her belt as far as that's concerned. She's sitting at a record of 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 8 knockouts, 7 submissions. A little more varied as far as her method of victory compared to Miss Cyborg over here. 5'7", just 1 inch shorter. 67-inch reach, just 1 inch shorter there as well. 4 inches older, like I said, 36 years old. She's fighting out of Houston, Texas with the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, amongst other people. And speaking of some odds here, I actually couldn't find any rankings in the women's featherweight division. I guess that shouldn't really be unexpected or anything like that. I guess that's pretty fucking normal, seeing as there isn't really one. But I will say props to the UFC for getting this shit together correctly and getting Cyborg into the championship fight. The whole Holly Holm, Jermaine Durandamy thing was completely ridiculous. It was a slap in the face at Cyborg, and I'm glad that at some point they kind of switched tunes and was wanting to force Durandamy to fight Cyborg, and then she didn't want to, and then it all kind of fucking worked out to where it is now. I'm going to give them kudos for that because they really botched it at the end of last year. And so I'm happy to see that it's kind of pulling back together the way that it should be. Odds for this motherfucker right now, you're looking at minus 1,100 for Cyborg, plus 750 for Tanya Evinger. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pay minus 1,100 for any MMA fight. She's won 12 straight by TK or by KO or TKO, one or the other. Tanya Evinger's not on her level. But is it impossible that an injury happens, an eye poke, and so a disqualification, a 1 in 7 chance? Is there a 1 in 7 chance that a disqualification or a freak submission or something happens to get Tanya Evinger the win? That's where I'm looking at here. Obviously, you know, not counting the money lines here, I'm Cyborg is probably going to win this fight. I expect Cyborg to knock Tanya Evinger the fuck out. 1,100 though, that's really no return on your money. And I'm wondering if I think that there's any way that a Tanya Evinger plus 750 is going to be a good idea. I do see some value there, but I think I'm going to not take it. It's just too, I mean, of course, there is a better than 1 in 7.5 chance that Evinger wins the fight. But those numbers really only fucking matter if you actually win or not. Otherwise, you just lose. And I'm not going to be betting against Cyborg during this fight. I'm pretty sure Cyborg is going to walk out and knock her the fuck out. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm staying away from the betting line. Go ahead and take Cyborg in your head, though. Tell all your friends how she's going to fuck people up and look smart. 2 fights left. These two are going to be fucking awesome. All right. Welterweight championship bout. Tyron motherfucking Woodley, the champ, taking on the number 1 contender, Damian motherfucking Maia. This is going to be a fucking awesome fight. I'm glad that Damian Maia is finally getting his title shot. Definitely deserved one. Especially as of late, his MMA game has skyrocketed. Tyron Woodley, a beast of a motherfucker lately as well. Woodley, his last fight was March 4th, defended his championship with a majority decision victory over Wonder Boy. I think one judge had it a draw. 2 of them gave it to Tyron. And that comes, let's see, just 4 months after having a majority draw with Wonder Boy. Good fights, very good fights for both of those. He retained his championship in that first one as well, just because he had the draw. He was already the champion. Before that, it was when he knocked out Robbie Lawler, won the championship, and before that, a split decision victory over Kelvin at 170. Kelvin Gastelum, that is. Tyron, his record is standing at 17, 3-1. 6 KOs only, which is kind of surprising. 5 submissions. Not that surprising. And he's standing at 5'8", 74-inch reach, 35 years old, fighting out of Rufus Sport with Duke Rufus, obviously, in Milwaukee there. On the other side, Damian Maia won a few straight. His most recent was a split decision victory over Jorge Masvidal. I thought he won that for sure. That was 2 months ago. Before that, a submission over Carlos Condit, first round rear naked choke. That was back in August of last year. Matt Brown, victory over him, a third round rear naked choke. That was May of last year. Decision over Gunnar Nelson 2 Decembers ago. His record sitting at 25-6. Kind of interesting that he has more MMA fights than does Woodley, considering he came to the game so much later in his life. Only 3 knockouts for him, but actually that's probably surprising he has any. 12 submissions. Almost half of his fights have ended in a submission. He's standing at 6 feet tall. Talking about a 4-inch height advantage over Mr. Woodley there. 2-inch reach disadvantage, though. He's got a 72-inch reach compared to the 74 for Tyrone. 39 years old. Not getting any younger for Damian Maia. A serious beast, though. And he is a 4th-degree black belt. You could argue, honestly, probably that he might be higher than that even. But I don't know. He hasn't really put much focus into pure jiu-jitsu as of recently. His jiu-jitsu schools and everything like that are, some of the best in the world. What do I like about this? Let's see. Tyrone Woodley, minus 200. Damian Maia, plus 170. All right. What do I think is going to happen here? I think that Woodley's going to win a decision. Don't think he's going to knock Maia out. I think Maia's too smart for that. I don't think that Maia's going to submit Woodley, though. I think that he might get his back at one point or something like that. But I don't think that... I think Woodley's going to be too fast, too strong. And I think he's going to be pretty fucking well prepared for Damian, too. Damian Maia has a level of strength that is... It's pretty fucking weird. Like, it's not traditional. He looks kind of like a fucking pussy. But he straight up grabs motherfuckers and they can't fucking get... They're stuck, man. He's a fucking spider. That being said, I think that Woodley's probably going to be different here. That reach advantage, too, I like that. I think he's going to be able to keep him out on the edge with some straights. There's a pretty good shot he could knock him out. Damian Maia's head movement isn't fantastic. His movement in general is just not fantastic. He's not an incredible striker. I think that's going to be a pretty big advantage for Woodley in this fight. And then obviously the grappling, and no question, is going to be a massive advantage for Damian. If I have to pick, though, I'm not going to bet money on this one. I think it could go either way. And if I did, honestly, man, I don't know. I think Woodley's going to win the fight. I think Woodley's going to retain his title here, and we'll have a and-still championship situation. It's going to be an interesting fight, though. I'd love to see this game plan match up. I love Damian Maia, and I'm super fucking stoked to watch this. Okie doke. This shit takes us to the main event of the evening, and the reason why everybody, for the most part, is going to be tuning in. The light heavyweight championship of the motherfucking world between the champion, Daniel Cormier, and the contender, number 1 contender, that is, Jon Jones. These fuckers hate each other. Jon Jones is the best fighter of all time. Jon Jones is kind of a piece of work a little bit, it seems like. Cormier's a hardworking son of a bitch. One of the least talented champions that have probably... physically talented champions that have probably ever, at least in recent times, existed in the UFC. It's going to be fucking interesting here. This is, probably the fight of the year. Start with Cormier, man. His most recent fight, he submitted Rumble with a rear naked choke in the second round. That was in April of this year, defending his championship. Before that, he fought a non-title bout, which I'm not entirely sure why that was, with Anderson Silva. He got the unanimous decision victory there. That was a year ago, last July. That, of course, coming after Jon Jones had to drop out because of the steroid, accusations or, allegations or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Really unfortunate situation there. We would have got this last year, and Bones hasn't fought since then, so that sucks. Before that, a split decision victory over Alexander Gustafsson. That was back in, December of 2015. Or not December, October of 2015, defending his championship there. And then he won the championship, obviously, 2 years ago against Rumble. Submitted him the first time with a rear naked choke also. third round that time to win the championship that was vacant because of the greatest fighter of all time.